One of the concerns to u3a members is the Trust's digital strategy, and I've invited Tony Smith to join me to talk about what's happening with the digital strategy. Let's just go back to 2020, and there was a project to develop a Beacon 2 system that was outsourced. There were problems with the providers. At the end of the day, that basically ended, but contrary to what I sometimes hear people saying, we were able to recoup all the money that had been spent on that project, so there was no financial loss to the Trust. More or less immediately following that, there was a review taken of the Trust's digital strategies, looking at things very much in the round and recognising that it wasn't a case simply of looking at a single project and saying, how do we update this project, but a need to look at the whole of our digital ways of working and to think about what do we need to be doing in order to ensure that we're fit for purpose going into the future.
So is that what we mean then by the digital strategy? I mean, where is it at the moment? Where are we at with it? And particularly what will concern the members, I think, is what will the cost of it all be?
Following that review, there was a digital strategy working group set up under the auspices of Tattle, our trading company. It was Tattle that took this responsibility on for two reasons. One is that Beacon is part of the Tattle portfolio. And secondly, because at the time, there was not available on either the Trust board or in the Trust staffing the appropriate personnel. The digital strategy review completed its work at the back end of last year and reported in various ways up until about the middle of this year. It looked at 6 different strands of activity: finance and group management systems for local u3as, future strategic use of social media, looking at the development of a learning hub, digital development of the Trust's organisation and skills, the potential development of digital services to local u3as, the digital aspects of the Trust's direct relationship with individual u3a members. That process of looking at those was concluded in the middle of this year, and that broad round overview is the background to the digital strategy. Now, we did have a Chief Development Information Officer in post who is no longer, has moved on to do other things, and we're in the process of trying to recruit to that post at the moment.
Yes, so this is going to be a professional person, presumably, with
yes,
considerable expertise.
Yes, I think one of the things we're very clear about is that we need to ensure that we do use professional expertise. Timescale is very dependent, really, on having the right staff volunteers in place and making sure that we get things right as we do them. But hopefully, the more we are using people who actually know and understand the systems we're using, the less likely it is that we trip up. Now, where SiteWorks is at the moment is that I understand it's about to start live testing with a number of u3as, and then it will be rolled out. The original thinking was that it could well be a 3 to 5 year programme before everybody was transferred to SiteWorks. With a fair wind, it could be quicker than that. And obviously there's going to be a lot of training involved.
But we're looking at something between now and 5 years, probably.
Yes, and I think we've got to be thinking very practically with all these things, that everything is incremental, and one's got to say, what is it that's the most important and urgent thing that enables, and what are the things that are not so urgent?
So how are we going to ensure that members really get value for money? I suppose that's what the main concern of, I would guess, most ordinary members is.
That I think the way in which we control it is firstly by making sure that we've got clear plans for each thing that is happening, and that we are clear about what it is likely to cost, but at the same time, we have to recognise that there's some costs that we can't control. But it's also about not paying for things that we don't need to pay for. So it's keeping an eye on what's happening and understanding the business. And this again is where the professionals or the professional expertise comes in, because if we've got managers both on our financial side and on our IT side who understand the business, then we have some control over what is happening.
But I suppose what you're really saying is that there are reassurances in place to be given to the membership because of the expertise and the professionals that will be really in control of the process.
Yes, and there are things like we do now have in place and have done for, I think, about 18 months now, a member of staff who is responsible for managing our contracts and making sure that appropriate due diligence is done.
Yes. Am I right in thinking there is a forum, or was a forum at some point in the past, maybe, for membership, the members having a sort of say in what might go on?
We have recently set up a new Facebook forum called Fit for the Future, which is giving people an opportunity to share experiences.
Okay, well, thank you very much.
And thank you, Tony.